Greetings to all of you. This is Nagratna Marihar from Gokta Institution of Technology, MBA Department, Udyambag, Belagavi. The topic I'll be covering in this video is on Companies Act 2013. Firstly, let us understand the basic meaning of company. A company simply means a group of persons associated for any common object such as business, charity, research, etc. According to Haney, a company is an incorporated association which is an artificial person created by the law, having a separate entity with a perceptual succession and a common seal. According to Section 2, Subsection 20 of the Companies Act 2013, it is defined as an incorporated association which is an artificial person having a separate legal entity with a perceptual succession, a common seal, and a common capital comprised of transferable shares and limited liabilities. History of Companies Act in India. The history of Indian company law began with the Companies Act of 1850, modelled on British Companies Act 1844. So, between 1850 and 1882, the Companies Act was amended many times, and the Act of 1882 repealed all the previous laws and remained in the force till 1912. The Indian Companies Act of 1913 was based on British Companies Act of 1908. Subsequently, amendments happened in the year 1914, 1915, 1920, 1926, 1930, 1932 and 1936. The amendment in 1936 was based on the line of British Companies Act of the 1929 and became operative from 15th Jan 1937. After independence, it was found that the company law should again be amended. Therefore, the Companies Act 1956 was passed and it came into picture in 1st April 1956. Then there was amendment which happened in the year 2013 and it is called as Indian Companies Act 2013. To Companies Act 2013. The government has been vested with the powers to enforce different provisions of the Act at different point of time. The Companies Act 2013 was passed by Lok Sabha on 18 December 2012 and it was passed by Rajya Sabha on 8 August 2013. On receiving the assent of Honorable President of India on 29 August 2013, it was notified on 30 August 2013 as the Companies Act 2013. Companies Act 2013 is enacted to gradually replace the old Act of 1956 with the objective to bring more accountability and good corporate governance. The Act appears to place to a higher degree of responsibility on board of members for good corporate compliance. The 2013 Act was then divided into many other new chapters. Structural comparison of Companies Act 1956 with Companies Act 2013. The 2013 Act is divided into 29 chapters containing 470 sessions and against 656 sessions in the comparison with Companies Act 1956. It has 7 schedules. However, currently there are only 438 sessions remain in this Act. So the objectives of the Companies Act 2013 are to promote the development of the company, to encourage the transparency and accountability, to promote high standard of corporate governance, to recognize new concept and producers, to support business while protecting interest of all the stockholders, to set up institutional structure in the form of various authorities, bodies and panels like NCLT and NCLAT, to enforce strict action against fraud and gross non-compliance with the company law provisions. So in the Companies Act 2013, there are new concepts which were introduced. The 2013 Act has introduced several new concepts and has also tried to streamline many of the requirements by introducing new definitions. So there are the new concepts which were introduced are companies. Under companies, one person company. Under the Section 3, Subsection 1 of 2013 Act, the 2013 Act enables the formation of new entity of one person company or OPC. And OPC means a company with only one person as its member. So next, Private company. The new requirement increases the limit of number of members from 50 to 200. This is under the Section 2, subsection 68 of 2013 Act. Next, small company. A company other than public company is called a small company. Dominant company. The 2013 Act states that a company can be classified as dominant when it is formed and registered under this Act for a future project and has no significant accounting transaction. So the second concept which was introduced was roles and responsibilities. Under roles and responsibilities, there are four sub definitions. First one is officer. The definition of officer has been extended to include promoters and key managerial personnel. This was under the Section 2 subsection 59 of 2013 Act. Key managerial personnel has been defined in the 2013 Act and has been used in several sessions, thus expanding the scope of persons covered by such sessions. This was in under the section of 2 subsection 51 of 2013 Act. Next is promoter. A person who has been named as such in the prospectus or is identified by the company in the annual return referred to in this section 92 of 2013 Act that deals with annual returns. Independent director. It has been defined in the 2013 Act along with the several new requirements relating to their appointment, roles and responsibilities. This was under section 2 subsection 47 and also 149 and subsection 5 of 2013 Act. The concept which was introduced was investment. Under investment, a definition was subsidiaries. The definition of subsidiary has included in the Act 2013 states that certain classes or class of holding company shall not have layers of subsidiaries beyond such numbers as may be prescribed. With such a restrictive section, it appears holding a company will go no longer be able to hold subsidiaries beyond a specified number. This was under Section 2 subsection 87 of 2013 Act. The fourth concept which was introduced was financial statement. Under that, there was two new definitions, that is financial year and consolidated financial statement. Financial year, it has been defined as the period ending on 31st day of March every year and where it has been incorporated on after 1st day of January. The period ending on the 31st day of March of the following year in respect where financial statement of the company is made up. This is under Section 2, Subsection 41 of Companies Act 2013. Consolidated financial statement. The 2013 Act now mandated consolidated financial statement for any company having a subsidiary or an associate or a joint venture to prepare a present consolidated financial statement in addition to stand-alone financial statement. So the fifth new concept which was introduced in 2013 Companies Act was auditors. Mandatory rotation of auditors for the listed and other specified class of companies. Individual auditor to be rotated after a team of 5 consecutive years. Audit firms to be rotated after 2 terms of 5 consecutive years. So that's it, friends. There are many other new concepts which are introduced in Companies Act. So this is it. I hope you liked the video. Please do subscribe, comment and do share with your friends. Thank you.